How to Expose the Narcissist, Part 1. There are a variety of ways that you can consider exposing the narcissist. And such is the detail of information that I have to convey to you about this important subject. I've split this into two separate videos. First of all, we have to ask, what is the purpose by which you wish to expose the narcissist? Well, it might be that you want to expose the narcissist so that you know that you are dealing with a narcissist. So you are exposing the narcissist for your own knowledge and no more. If that is what you wish to achieve, that is eminently sensible and is driven by logic. Of course, to be in this position presupposes that you know about narcissists and narcissism. And, therefore, if you want to get yourself into a position whereby you are able to expose potential narcissists, or rather, expose narcissists who potentially might ensnare you, here is what you must do. The first thing is, you have to ensure that you stay away from narcissists. Well, how can I do that, HG, you might ask, if I can't spot them? For most of you, your exposure to narcissists will have occurred in a romantic and or familial scenario. Therefore, what this means is that once you've established that the individual that you are in a relationship with, or more likely were recently in with, is a narcissist, you need to stay away from that person through the imposition of a total no-contact regime, and my work explains to you how you are able to achieve that, and if you need further assistance in that regard, organise an audio consultation and join the many, many people who have done that and have successfully achieved freedom. So you know that particular person is a narcissist. Stay away from them. Similarly, you will have identified perhaps that a person within your family is a narcissist, and therefore you have implemented total no contact or almost total no contact with regard to that individual. Having done that, what you then need to do is ensure that you don't expose yourself to other narcissists as part of the reduction of your emotional thinking, because you have to reduce this emotional thinking to enable you to expose narcissists to you. The simplest way to achieve this is, in effect, to ensure that you stay out of the dating arena for a good solid 6 months. You see, if you don't do online dating, and you should never do it full stop, but if you stay away from the dating arena, you are far less likely to come across a romantic ensnarement. Yes, you might meet people through work, you might bump into somebody who takes an interest in you whilst you are weighing up the vegetables in your local supermarket. But if you stay out of the hunting ground that is the world of dating by not saying to people, oh, I'm currently dating, looking to date, or going on certainly dating apps, etc., staying out of particular online forums, that reduces the risk of getting caught by a romantic narcissist. And then any real-life interactions you can reduce, so that if you realise that somebody's chatting you up, you can end that interaction and move away. So staying away from the dating arena and staying away from those familial narcissists who you have identified, and of course there'll only be so many so many individuals who are members of your family, so you'll know which ones are likely problematic individuals, and so you can stay away from both of those groups. You will, of course, unwittingly have some form of interaction with narcissists, maybe one at work, and you might suspect them, or a neighbour or such like. And if you've got the sensation that you're dealing with a narcissist in that regard, then again, reduce your interaction with them. Do this for 6 months, and what that means is that you will reduce your emotional thinking down to a much safer level. It is then at this point that should you then decide to embark upon dating, etc., you will be in a far better position to spot a narcissist at an early juncture because you've got your emotional thinking down to a very low level, so it's far less likely to mislead you. And then what you need to do is the following. You need to utilize my work, Red Flags and Black Flags, and also the very useful logic bulletin, Early Warning Detector. All that material can be found in the Knowledge Vault, and the 2 books can also be found on Amazon. So with regard to exposing the narcissist so you know what you're dealing with, the first step is known narcissists must be consigned to no contact. 2, suspected narcissists must be reduced and avoided on an ongoing basis for 6 months. 3, stay out of the arenas where narcissists hunt, the hunting grounds, and you can learn more about those in Sitting Target. And then after having done that, you will have lowered your emotional thinking so that you can apply the knowledge that you have, so that if you start dating again, you will be better placed to expose that narcissist to yourself through the questions that are posed in Early Warning Detector, which you can use. And then you will spot narcissists. You will do so because you are utilizing the material which tells you about the behaviors. You are far more likely to heed these red flags because of your reduced emotional thinking, and then you can evade. So, that is how you go about exposing the narcissist with regard to yourself. However, what I suspect that many of you have come here for this video is, what about exposing the narcissist to other people? It makes sense, doesn't it? You might feel a sense of justice, that it's only right that the narcissist is exposed for who they are, the individual that has caused so many problems in your life, chaotic, disorganized, abusive, manipulative. Why shouldn't they be exposed to the wider community as a sort of punishment for what they've done? Their behaviour might even be illegal and is certainly morally repugnant, and they've hurt you. So it makes perfect sense, does it not, to expose them to a wide range of people. Your motives might be driven by a protective one. You want to protect other people from the beast that lurks, that you want to expose the narcissist so that other people are not ensnared by them, that people are aware about who this person is and how they behave and what they get up to. And so you want to protect others. Perhaps it might be prospective victims or existing victims from being drawn back in again. It might also be because you are looking to ensure that you cause problems for the narcissist as part of revenge. Why not they have a little bit of fuck up in their life? Why don't they experience what it's like to be socially ostracized, have scorn porn upon them, for them to be rejected, even abused back? Feels good, doesn't it, to dole out a bit of their own behaviour against them, give their narcissist a taste of his medicine? Well, all of those are understandable sentiments. Who might then this audience be with regard to exposing the narcissist to them? Should it be done? And moreover, can it be done? Well, there are a wide range of individuals in this audience, which I shall be addressing for you. First of all, the most obvious one is, why not expose the narcissist to themselves? Why not tell the narcissist that they are a narcissist? Why not explain to them that they are a narcissist and that you know? Why not ensure that you get one up on the narcissist by saying, you, sir, or you, madam, are a narcissist. Here's why, and I know, so fuck you. Very tempting, isn't it? Short answer, never ever do it. You're doomed to failure. Here's why. If you tell a lesser narcissist that he is one, his narcissism will reject it. He cannot accept that he's a narcissist, and therefore he will just outright reject the assertion. You will have probably given him fuel as a consequence of what you've said to him, which means he wins. Yes, you'll have challenged him by this comment, which means that he will be provoked into having to assert control over you. Most likely, that means he'll do so directly. Since you're dealing with the lesser, that could involve physical violence, and therefore there is a particularly unpleasant repercussion for you to experience. Even if that does not occur, you'll be on the receiving end of a tirade. You will be called names, insulted, and so forth. The narcissist, of course, may go and smear you to other people, saying, this crazy for Cocoa Puffs individual is going around saying that I'm a narcissist. Who the fuck does she think she is? Or the narcissist may simply withdraw from you, leaving you frustrated, angry, irritated at the failure of the narcissist to accept the irrefutable evidence of what they are. Even if you don't expect the narcissist to accept it, it is still not a sensible move because of the fact that you're giving fuel to us. We win, you lose. You will suffer an adverse consequence when you express this to the lesser, meaning you lose, we win. And, of course, you're interacting with the narcissist. If you go and talk to the narcissist to explain this to the narcissist, you're increasing your emotional thinking because you're entering an arena of interaction. If you send it in a letter, if you send it in an email, if you send it in a text, or a voice file, or a telephone call, or written in blood on a piece of parchment wrapped around a brick and thrown at the narcissist's head, you're entering the second arena of interaction by communicating. Accordingly, there is nothing to be gained because you will not make the narcissist accept that what they are. And secondly, there are all of the downsides appertaining to the provision of fuel, adverse consequences, increasing a risk of being hoovered, increasing a risk of being smeared, and the increase of your own emotional thinking. If you think, well, it felt good to tell them that I know, that's your emotional thinking misleading you into continuing the interaction, continuing to want to see how the narcissist responds to this. Do not do it. If you try and do this with a mid-range narcissist, to say to them, I know what you are, you will have a similarly disappointing experience. They may well reject it outright, or they may give the appearance of considering it and asking, perhaps you could help me change and deal with this problem that I have. You're just being duped further and sucked back into interacting with the narcissist, which means you're giving more fuel, the narcissist wins and you lose. You're suffering an adverse consequence because although the narcissist might be pleading for your help, you're giving up your valuable time, energy, effort, money, etc. towards the narcissist who doesn't deserve it. And of course, you're increasing your emotional thinking. Some mid-range narcissists will flounce and haughtily suggest that no, you're the narcissist, and draw you into a debate and an argument where you're left having to defend yourself. So such exposure doesn't work. Some mid-range narcissists will dole out the pity plays, so that they say, I can't help what I am. Thank you for helping me. Please can you help me change? Be very clear about this. This is not the mid-range narcissist accepting that they are a narcissist. This is the narcissist manipulating you further, and your high emotional thinking will probably cause you to continue to interact with the narcissist, so that your attempted exposure only results in you doing this, providing fuel, suffering an adverse consequence, heightening your emotional thinking. You end up losing. You might even get sucked back into the formal relationship, thinking, aha, my good works have succeeded. I told him that he was a narcissist. He has accepted that he is a narcissist. It's all good in the hood. And therefore, now he's going to take steps to cure himself of this problem. He will remove the affliction. Aren't I a wonderful person for helping him? You're being duped and conned once again, because as you know, the narcissist cannot be cured. And if you remain in any doubt about that, listen to my video, Can the Narcissist Be Cured? The mid-range narcissist may just turn around and reject what you have to say and walk away, asserting control over you through the third assertion of control. You may then result in the recipient being the recipient of smearing and being accused of being the narcissist and having that spread around about you elsewhere. Therefore, attempting to tell the mid-range narcissist that he is a narcissist is doomed to failure, and therefore it is not an appropriate step to take. Finally, what about telling the greater narcissist that he or she is one? Again, doomed to failure. The greater already knows, but isn't going to admit it to you, and therefore will use charm and then perhaps a malicious response to dissuade you of forming this view. All you'll end up doing is giving fuel to the greater narcissist. All you will do is end up suffering an adverse consequence because you will fail, you might get a malign response, or at the very least, you'll feel disappointed, dejected, and frustrated because this narcissist will deflect and persuade you that that's wrong. And of course, you will heighten your emotional thinking, meaning that you will remain invested in the interaction. Trying to expose the narcissist to him or herself is a breach of no contact, is doomed to failure, and results in the problems of the provision of fuel, which is what we want. The fact that you're threatening our control with such an assertion, because the concept of being a narcissist is one that's stigmatic, and therefore will be viewed as affecting the narcissist's reputation and superiority, which all amounts to a threat to control. That means the narcissist has no choice but either instinctively, where lesser or mid-range, or through calculation, where greater, to respond by rejecting and nullifying that threat to control. That will expose you to adverse consequences, perhaps smearing, perhaps hoovering, physical violence, verbal violence, and at the very least, disappointment, dejection, and frustration, upset, sadness. You might end up getting sucked back into the former relationship, having thought that you'd escaped. And of course, all of this does is heighten your emotional thinking further, causing you to make mistakes through the application of flawed logic. Accordingly, when it comes to the concept of exposing the narcissist to the narcissist, forget it. Under no circumstances should you do this. You are, of course, compelled to try, because your heightened emotional thinking corrupts, for instance, your empathic trait of being a truth seeker, causing you to think, through flawed logic, that it is a good idea for you to say to the narcissist, "I know what you are. You are this." And even if you convey it in a sympathetic or constructive manner, it isn't going to work. It might be that your empathic trait of justice is being corrupted as a consequence of your heightened emotional thinking to say, they need to know what they are, it's only right, and that should be visited upon them. It might be that your narcissistic trait of pride has been corrupted to cause you to do this as a consequence of you taking pride in having worked out that the narcissist is the narcissist, and you want to get one over on the narcissist. Whichever of your empathic or narcissistic traits has been corrupted by your elevated emotional thinking, you need to resist that and recognize that is what is going on. So in conclusion, with regard to part 1 of how to expose the narcissist, firstly, exposing a narcissist so that you know that they are a narcissist, so that you can then evade them, is logical and sensible action. Exposing the narcissist by letting the narcissist know what they are is driven by emotional thinking, is not logic, and must be resisted. In part 2 of this series of how to expose the narcissist, I will address exposure of the narcissist to third parties, which includes the current victim, the new victim in the romantic setting, secondary sources such as family, friends, colleagues, system professionals, for instance, exposing the narcissist to therapists, social services, their employer, the exposure of the narcissist in court proceedings. This is very valuable information with regard to a crucial part of the narcissistic dynamic. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening. Please ensure that you like this video, that you subscribe, and that you share it. This is very important to ensure that my material, which is the most accurate and unrivaled with regard to its effectiveness, reaches the right people. Thank you for doing so.